good Tuesday morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. Welcome into the show. I'm Monica Adams. The show is The Real Monica Adams, and we have a very powerful guest on tap today. We actually met her just a handful of months ago. She was part of our makeover show that we did with The Vault. It was so much fun to meet her and some of her other friends that I've now become good friends with. So Maria Granados, she is going to talk about the Take Part Foundation. There's a really amazing workout, actually a couple of them, coming up that you'll be able to get involved with and raise money for what they are doing. We're going to talk about she and her husband and their family and their child Natalie, who has a rare genetic disease. So we're going to talk about that. And it was ironic that there is a story in the news you can use today that has to do with another family with the same thing, right? So there are so many where we need to speak and become part of this community to pay it forward. What can we do for the Take Part Foundation? We'll talk about all that coming up for you right after we do News You Can Use. I hope you're having a great start to your day. Looking forward to this weather changing, right? And getting into fall, and then of course we'll be complaining about it being cold, as I said yesterday. But let's take a look at it. We don't have our aspiring meteorologist Beckett Moore today. He'll be back with us on Friday. Today, 93, so still warm, partly sunny skies. Down to 68 tonight. The Cardinals are in action. We'll talk about that in just a second. Wednesday, 92. It's sticking around with the 90s into Thursday as we get to 93 again. And then we get into the weekend. We finally have some slight, now they're not big, but slight chances of rain, which we need. As you heard Beckett say, we are in a drought. 86 on Friday, Saturday 85, and look at that, you can see the balloon there, the Great Forest Park balloon race. Sunday, a slight chance of rain, and we're going to be in the mid-80s. And then finally, we're not seeing that 9 on the forecast. 84, 83, 83, 83, all the way into next Thursday. And you see that on Monday. We were talking about when does fall start? It officially starts on Monday, and you can see that it's cooperating as it starts to drop in temperature. So I hope you're having a great start to your day as you're signing on. Good morning to all of you that are saying hello. I want you to be very interactive today, and the woman that I have coming on here in about 10 minutes, for those of you that maybe have known about her or how she's helped you, be sure to be interactive with us. We're very big on talking to you live as you are able to communicate with us again on the keyboard. If anybody ever wants to join the show, by the way, we do have a link where you can say, oh my gosh, I'm so compelled to talk about that. So feel free to do so throughout any day that inspires you. All right, let's get into some news you can use. We obviously are talking more and more and more about what happened last week with Charlie Kirk. But what do we know about the shooter? Let's get into that. Who is Tyler Robinson? What we know at this point. So first of all, the 22-year-old Utah man accused of murdering Charlie Kirk will make his first court appearance today, this afternoon. He is currently being held in a special housing unit at Utah County Jail after a bolt-action rifle was discovered near the campus and security camera footage was released. Robinson's identity was revealed, leading to his arrest September 11th. Charlie Kirk was shot and killed September 10th while speaking at an event on the Utah Valley University campus. He's the founder of Turning Point USA. Well, Robinson was arrested on aggravated murder, a first-degree felony, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, first-degree felony and obstruction of justice, capital first-degree felony conduct. Southern Utah reporters confirmed with residents in the area that Robinson was born and raised in Utah. Additionally, Utah State University in Logan confirmed that Robinson was a student at the school for one semester in 2021. And according to The Hill, Governor Spencer Cox said that Robinson was in a romantic relationship with his roommate, said that the roommate is cooperating with law enforcement. They reported that the roommate is transgender, transitioning from male to female. That's a lot of the things that people are talking about, but what was the motive? We still don't know that aspect. But as I mentioned, of course, more and more stories coming out from this, and we'll continue to bring those about. The biggest thing that I've seen, though, is the amount of people coming forward. I think there's 38,000 chapters of Turning Point now, which is just amazing what has happened in our faith. Okay, now there is a tie also here locally. A resolution honoring Charlie Kirk is on the St. Louis County Council agenda. So our ties here into Missouri.
This is actually on tap for today. The agenda states 7th District communication dated September 15th from the Honorable Mark Harder, councilman for the 7th District, directed to the council attorney requesting preparation of a resolution for introduction during the September 16th meeting honoring the life and the legacy of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk. The document is a memorandum from Harder to St. Louis County Councilwoman Rita Hurd, and it says, please prepare a resolution honoring the life and the legacy of Charlie Kirk. My office will supply details separately. So again, that is on tap for the agenda later today, and you're going to see more and more of that, obviously all throughout the world. The latest news on TikTok. This is good for you, all of you, kids, adults, parents, you know you're on it as well. Here's the latest. Trump's TikTok win, good for stocks, but it matters to the markets as well. Welcome back, TikTok. U.S. and Chinese officials reached a framework deal yesterday. Looks like a concession from Beijing. TikTok's U.S. operations are set to come under American ownership. That suggests China's willing to give up one bargaining chip in order to seal a permanent trade deal. Of course, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. China also said yesterday that U.S. chip makers have breached their anti-monopoly laws as its campaign to wean domestic companies from their reliance on American artificial intelligence processors continues to pace that out. So both countries reaching for every bit of leverage, but good news by what we've seen from the stock market aspect. The framework deal has been reached, and any new information about TikTok, I'll pass along to you. But again, that is good news for those of you that were hoping that that particular platform would not go away. Maybe now we'll finally get a little bit more active on that. Well, caught on camera here in St. Louis, $1,500 worth of steaks have been stolen from a restaurant on Washington Avenue. Buddy's Wine Bar and Bistro, have you ever been there? They had their front window smashed in, and it was caught on surveillance video. The owner says the man got away with $1,500 worth of steaks and even stole the owner's favorite cart. And here's the sad thing. The owner said this is why people keep saying they don't want to come down to the downtown area. He said, you may have the wrong idea, though. It's not the wild, wild west. It's a safe place to come to. You see things you might not see where you live, but of course, these things happen, and it frustrates a lot of people. I will tell you, the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department says burglary in downtown is up 3% compared to this time last year, but they're saying murder's down 100%, robbery down 4%. I did watch a press conference with President Trump yesterday talking about boots on the ground and going into certain areas, Memphis being one of them, and they mentioned St. Louis as well. National Guard may be coming into our area to, again, try to keep the crime rates down, because St. Louis, in some stories we talked about in the last couple of weeks, unfortunately showing the number 1 most crime-ridden city. That is not a list, of course, that we want to be on. Okay, this one's tying into the story that we're going to do today. Hillsborough R3, this is in Jefferson County. They are celebrating a student with a rare genetic disorder as she continues to defy the odds. 4-year-old Summer, she's a student at the district's early childhood center. She was diagnosed with a Weidman-Steiner syndrome when she was 10 days old, the earliest it's ever been diagnosed in a child. She's just one of 3 children worldwide with this, also born with micrognathia, also known as a recessed jaw and cleft palate. 3 children in the entire world. As a result of her condition, Summer's undergone 6 major surgeries, including heart surgery. Still, she carries herself much like that of her fellow 4-year-old counterparts. So she started in the early childhood center at the beginning of the school year. Her special education teacher said she's already learning more from Summer than she could ever learn online. Yesterday was the International Day of Awareness for WSS, and the principal said she wanted to make it known within the school. So they celebrated her yesterday, which was just an absolutely beautiful story. Okay, if you're looking for a babysitter, maybe you can have a Division I athlete. What? Yes. Parents can now hire Division I athletes as babysitters, which is really, really cool. It sparked creation of an app that connects dozens of student athletes with families looking for reliable, energetic childcare. And I actually have the link that you can go to. It's called Sports Sitters, an elite network of background checked female student athlete sitters. Comprehensive check, by the way, includes their background, their team roster, social media, the student status, their phone, their email. So what do? They're an innovative technology platform that enables families to book these athletes for active, engaging childcare through a mobile app. They are Olympic trial athletes, role models, reliable, punctual, etc., dedicated to promoting active lifestyles. As I mentioned, I do have a link for you. I'm going to post it here right now. So maybe you can use that for your own babysitting, or maybe you're frustrated with who you currently have right now. All right, let's get into some Cardinals news. Congratulations, first of all, before we talk about yesterday's game, to Brendan Donovan, named the Cardinals nominee for the 2025 Roberto Clemente Award. Congratulations. The award, by the way, recognizes a Major League Baseball player who best represented the game through extraordinary character, community involvement, philanthropy, and positive contributions both on and off the field. And each team nominated one player. So Donovan gets it for the Cardinals. And speaking of the Cardinals, unfortunately, they lost 11-6 yesterday to the Cincinnati Reds. They're back in action at Busch tonight at 6:45. And if you are paying attention to the NFL, Monday Night Football, a couple of games yesterday. Who won? Well, the Chargers beat the Raiders 20-9, and the Buccaneers just inched out the Texans. The final there was 20-19. All right, what's on tap today for the National Day of Calendar? First of all, National Guacamole Day. Oh, we got to go to a Mexican restaurant. National Working Parents Day. National IT Professionals Day. National Step Family Day. Oh, I love that. National Play-Doh Day. Oh my gosh, I haven't played with that in forever. National Cinnamon Raisin Bread Day. That sounds yummy. And it is National Voter Registration Day. So very important that you exercise that right. There you are. You're all up to date in the National Day of. I also saw it's World Ozone Day. So we look at the National Day of calendar and the world calendar. All right. That's how we do it. We get you all up to date on things that we think are news you can use. If there's anything else you've seen in the news that we didn't drop in, feel free to drop it in, because after all, this is your platform. We are on Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, Rumble, and LinkedIn. So tell your family and friends and get ready to get inspired. You might even want your Kleenex nearby, because the woman I have coming on next is going to inspire you, what they've gone through, other families, and what they want you to know about the Take Part Foundation and how can we help them. Maria Granados, my guest when we return.
Take Part Foundation is a 501c3 that allows anyone to take part in fighting for possible. This is done by identifying existing medical research that likely will not be able to find the funding elsewhere, and then fund it until it reaches the point where the team can apply for funding from larger organizations. Take Part is also committed to assisting and equipping families who have a warrior with a rare medical condition by giving them tools to better navigate this medical journey and a platform to share their story. The most common question people ask is, how can I help? Or since we formed the foundation, how can I take part? Donate, advocate, innovate. Donate means just that. Give to us directly. You can as an individual by simply hitting our donate button, or you can team up with your company's matching program as a way to double the impact. Advocate means to share what we are doing. Rare is more common than you think, and many people are affected by a multitude of rare diseases. We want to equip as many families as we can with the resources they need to fight for possible and share their child's story. So when you meet a family with a warrior, please send them our way so we can help. Innovate means get creative with us. We love creativity. Several friends and family have stepped outside of simply donating and have decided to create their own fundraisers through bracelets, apparel, donut taste at the workplace, and so much more. We encourage silly and creative ideas that pack a big punch and help us take part together.
Okay, we have so much to talk about in this hour, and it will inspire you. You know, I was watching video after video about the Take Part Foundation and just said, you know, these are the stories that we like to bring to you because it makes you think, what can I do? How can I help my community? And boy, what I'm going through right now, it's nothing compared to this. However, I want you to understand, whatever you're going through, it still has weight. So it's not a comparison aspect. So understand that. But you will probably do that in this hour, and that is understandable. You're human. Let me introduce you to Maria Granados. Maria, first of all, thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm so glad that I was introduced by a mutual friend, Jenny. A lot of you know Jenny. So Jenny introduced us. You were part of the Vault Fun that we had.
Which was so much fun.
Right?
And honestly, I'm thinking about when can I go to the Vault next, honestly. Because I had so much fun shopping afterwards.
I ended up, remember the one outfit I kept telling you was like to wear on the plane?
Yes.
I bought the pants to that.
Did you? Oh my gosh, I love it so much. I know, I regret it. I'm like, probably should have gotten more of those things. But I've got plenty of other stuff that I love.
And you actually were involved in fashion. We were just talking. So
Yeah.
This is a really important part for you all to listen to because in our lives we can kick and push and pull and think, well, I want to stay with this. So you sure got it? You said, I want to be boutique. You don't want me to do that? Okay, I'll let you guide me. But you never know if you're brought back to it. But you love fashion as much as I do.
I love fashion. The Lord brought me in when I came back to St. Louis. I used to live here. I grew up here.
You grew up in Chesterfield.
I grew up in Chesterfield. Yep, Chesterfield girl through and through. I always like to say. And I moved to Houston, Texas after college. Then I moved to Nashville. Then I moved to Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta for 5 years. I love boutiquing in all those cities because they're fabulous. So I fell in love with that. And honestly, my mom has an eye for style too. And so we would always go shopping together. So when I moved back to St. Louis, I had 2 little ones. I felt the call to start a boutique, an online boutique. It grew bigger than I had imagined it would grow, which is fabulous. But in the height of it, the Lord asked me to lay it down. And I was like, are you sure? I did listen, but it took a second,
did you
Monica. And in all of this, we'll get to this part of our story, but with what was going on with our daughter, we had developed a foundation. My professional background is in nonprofit. And so I knew the Lord was asking me to put my skills towards growing Take Part Foundation and all that was going on with Natalie's research and all the other kids and families we could help. And so I laid that boutique down, and I have seen now with the growth of Take Part Foundation why the Lord had me do that. But we've also been able to incorporate style into our fundraising.
See,
so it's been really fun. The Lord is kind.
Yes.
You know, He really is.
He absolutely. Obviously, we're going to talk about faith, and I don't know how Maria and her husband could get through day to day if they didn't have their faith. Sure. And again, I never push faith on anyone. We sprinkle it in. It's a part of the show. And I hope that you find your connection and the guidance. Because again, without it just seems like such a dark place. Have you always been faith-based?
I have always been somebody who, I always say, I cannot think of a time when I didn't believe in Jesus. I grew up going to Catholic school through and through, and then I had my own kind of relationship with Jesus develop in my 20s and just really found myself actually digging into the Bible and like applying scripture to my life. And that really changed everything for me. I had gone on a journey. I have eating disorders in my past, different ways of perfectionism that I just tried to push everything through. I'm a high achieving person. And so I always like to say, like, after a while, when I realized all my ways weren't going to work and fulfill me and sustain me, I could have achievements all over the place. I could succeed. I could look the best. I could do all these things, but I was still going to feel unfulfilled and broken if I didn't surrender my life to Jesus. And so in God's kindness, He had me had that moment before I got married and got pregnant, because I think deep down I knew one day I'm going to really need to have this foundation. And I don't know. I say all the time, I don't know how you do it without it. I don't know how you do this rare disease journey as a parent without, or any medical situation or anything at all. Because like you said, we shouldn't compare our suffering. I don't know how you get through this life without it. That's just my personal story and take, and that's what I've been so grateful for.
It's interesting, Maria, because you're going to have people who are watching this morning, whatever you're going through. Maybe you're at the hospital right now and you are by a loved one's side and you're like, no, I don't understand what kind of a God would put my child through this. You know that they go through both ends of the spectrum. What do you say to that mentality?
I would just say, God is always good. And what I had to learn is I can't let the world, what's going on in the world around me, frame God's goodness. So for me, it was getting to know, okay, who is God? And understanding his character, that he is good and he is love and he is truth and he's all these things. And he tells us in his word that there is going to be evil in this world and there is going to be brokenness in this world. But if we can cling to him, he will help us to endure through it. He never promises us a world without evil. And I think that that's maybe the misconception as people say, if he's good, then why this? Well, he's all along said that this is going to be the case. But if you cling to me, you might not have less suffering, but you'll be able to endure the suffering. Mm-hmm. And in scripture, it tells us too that the number one place that we develop character is through suffering.
Absolutely.
And so if you want to grow in your character and you want to grow in hope, unfortunately, in our flesh, the only way to do that is to experience hard things and to endure.
Well,
we talk and about, you know that more than most.
Well, Maria, both of us, we talk about that all the time of the character that you become is looking at the walk of your life and what you've been able to overcome and who you lean on. Again, community is a big part of today's show. If you're just tuning in, Maria Granados, we're going to talk about the Take Part Foundation. Let me give you a little background. Passionate advocate for empowering individuals, all of you, families, to live intentional and impactful lives. She is the co-founder and the executive director of the Take Part Foundation. So let's talk about the foundation and let's talk about your daughter, Natalie. You call her Nat G?
Nat G, as she's well known as. That's my husband. That just started off pretty quickly. And then I don't know that most people call her Natalie. They call her Nat G. Nat G. And so she's a little firecracker. So Take Part Foundation developed because Natalie was our first. And so as young parents, we're just like not sure what's right or not right, what developmentally speaking. Our pediatrician at the time was like, no, everything's okay. Everything's fine. Just low tone, slow development. This happens to a lot of people. So we're just like kind of like rose-colored glasses. Yep. And Matt and I are rose-colored glasses people in general. So we're like, it's going to be fine. Our parents were a little bit like, both sides of our parents were like, have raised many kids, and they're like, there's just something that's, different, developmentally speaking, as far as her body tone goes. And we kept being like, no, our pediatrician's like, we'll just put her in PT, OT, and kind of help her. Well, by the time she was 2, things weren't really changing. So developmentally, she had stopped. She's growing bigger, but she hadn't developed any skills physically past 6-month-old as far as her muscle tone goes. Okay. And so we eventually were like, okay, we'll pursue this genetic testing thing because people say that's helpful. We got no answers in the first round. And then they're like, well, you can pay $10,000 and do another round. And we're like, we're fine because it's honestly, we're going to have to keep doing the same therapy. So we'll just keep doing these therapies and help her and take care of her.
I think the video I watched, though, that I thought was very powerful. Again, think about this. Young parents. How old were you at the time?
Well, we were 29, so we weren't young people, but we were young parents.
But that's still young, though. You think all of you that have children that are in their 20s, do they have $10,000 to spend that maybe insurance is not taking care of? You don't know. You're unsure. It's scary. It wasn't impressed upon you the importance of the testing. So you looked at it. I think your husband, Matt, was saying $10,000. Well, maybe that's more important for us to use towards therapy and things like that, right?
That's what we thought too. So we did lots of cool, innovative therapies, swim therapy. We were doing everything because we were just one of those people let's get her involved in as many things as she can be involved in to help her out. Meanwhile, I had another child that got pregnant, and we kind of hit a point where we were needing a lot of stuff for Natalie. We probably needed some help. So we moved back to St. Louis to be near family. It was either between St. Louis and Philadelphia, and we chose St. Louis because, I'm from here.
I'm from the Lewin. I'm proud.
And we love it here. And my husband will say, greatest city for community that he's been a part of.
That's good to hear.
We've lived in Atlanta. He's lived in Philadelphia, St. Louis, and it's just a beautiful place, especially for growing a business and raising a family at the same time. We love our entrepreneurs here. It's a cool place. Anyway, so we moved back here. We ended up getting genetic testing done at WashU St. Louis Children's. And we actually happened to be in the ICU at the time because we've had many ICU visits and near-death experiences, and one actual lifeless, what we call death experience that she came back from
20 minutes, right?
Yeah, 20 minutes. And it's a whole story. I would love to share that in a second. But she... We came back here, got the testing done at WashU, and they were able to, because we decided we're just going to pay for it. We're just going to do it this time. They were able to read through the testing and get the answers. Because what I didn't realize is it does matter who reads your genetic testing. So I would just think you get a test done and no matter where, you get the same results. But it matters who interprets those results. And we are blessed to have one of the best children's hospitals in the country and one of the most amazing genetics departments.
That's good to hear.
I'm learning more and more about how impactful WashU is in the genetics world too, and it's incredible. So they were able to give us our diagnosis, and the hard part was they walked us into a cold little room, sat us down, and told us about it. And then we're like, okay, so what do we do?
What do we do?
And they're
Right.
like, yeah, we don't know anything about this either. So she was so rare. She was the 17th person in the world at the time that had ever been diagnosed. I think the 3rd person in the United States.
I don't know if you heard the story I just did before you came in, but they were talking about this young girl that has a disease, and she's only one of 3
Yeah,
in the
wow.
entire world.
Here?
Yes.
I would love to meet her
Yes,
family.
yes.
I should probably look into that. Because it is such a hard thing to be a part of something where you're like, okay, there's
What do we do?
And then there's no answer. So I did all the internet things. And
Mm-hmm.
I ended up finding a doctor in the University of Sydney in Australia who's studying her disease but was running out of funding because it didn't matter to Big Pharma. No offense to Big Pharma, but it's a numbers game. And
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. I get it. I'm a business girl. I understand. But I can raise money.
Correct.
And so that's where we started Take Part Foundation. We brought that doctor's information to our doctor at WashU. He said, that's actually a really well-known doctor. That's good research. That's something you should put your money into. So we got that validation that we needed.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was off from there.
Look at that, mama. Research,
You know?
mama.
And then the internet can be a good thing.
It can't see that.
It can
but
be.
at the same
With
time, it can take.
discernment.
Yes.
With discernment. And then that took us to a whole thing of realizing there's so many different rare diseases that are being
Mm-hmm.
researched by these great doctors, but they don't have any funding because those individual diseases don't affect a large enough population for Big Pharma to be interested in the research.
Gotcha.
So what if we could we're entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
So we get how to do seed funding, angel investing. Like, what if we could start to develop little entrepreneurial projects for these research teams and say, could you agree to do this if we raise this amount of money for you? And then essentially give them that funding so that they can get their research to a place where they can prove their initial concept and then apply for the bigger
Right.
funding. And so that's what we started to do. We've done a couple of those projects now, and then we open the door to a couple more things that Take Part Foundation does, because as you are in this journey, you start to see holes. And we start to see the hole was that when we got a diagnosis, it was like the world opened up to us with resources, and this is covered, and this wheelchair you need, this surgery you need, like all of a sudden, because there was coding for covering
Right.
her, and anybody
Then it doesn't-
with a medical journey can relate to that, then all of a sudden insurance starts to cover it because they have the language in which to cover it. You're not spending your whole life fighting for it. And so we just said, I went to Children's Genetics Department. I said, how many families get denied this test every
Correct.
year? And they're like, well, we never tracked that, but like, let's go back. We're going to kind of go back and try to guesstimate for you. And so they came back to me a little bit later. They're like, we think between 100 to 120 families right here in St. Louis get denied. I said, let's make it 0.
Right.
Like,
so
that's-
you have
let's make it
become
0.
The Take Part Foundation has become the voice and that research behind all of you that were left thinking, oh my gosh, I'm left with this. There's no answers.
Yeah.
And this is all out of pocket. How am I going to do this? There's a really powerful part in the video as well that Matt says, I can't imagine anybody else going through this. We were meant to be. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really, there's so much in that video, and we can share this. It's about a 20-minute video. But that comment from him, because other people would say, why me? Really, I could hear God's word through him of, why not us? We were the right, because look what you did with this, and look what
Yeah.
you're doing for other families.
Yeah, I think about that with anything anyone's going through too. Like where is, and that's where let your fight shine. That's one of our catchphrases comes from, is that like where is your fight that you're tempted to hide or to suffocate because it's too painful, it's too icky, it's too. And I'm not saying like just show it to everybody without any discernment, but I'm saying how can you pray into and discern how God wants to use your fight to let His light shine in other people's lives too. And honestly, it's healing for you as well.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's a place to take that and to make something of it. So I encourage anyone to look into how their hardest parts of their life and how that can be used for good.
So the Take Part Foundation started in what year?
We started in 2020.
2020.
Officially.
Okay.
I would say we started probably in 2019, but official 501c3 paperwork is 2020.
Well, and we're going to find out how can you all help, and we'll talk more about this. We sprinkled in it a little bit, but one of the most powerful things in that really long video is, holy cow, did you just say that she was dead for 20 minutes?
Yeah.
We're going to discuss that. And there's also all, again, she's mentioning what does insurance cover? What does it not? There's a lot, obviously, that they have in her room, what they need to be able to keep her as this beautiful young little girl thriving every day. But I love the one side that everybody always sees that's much more medical. The other side is she's a normal little girl.
Yeah.
She wants to play with all this. We're going to talk about who Max is too, by the way. All right, more with Maria Granados when we return. Welcome to the mobile Monica version of the real Monica Adams Show at my favorite restaurant. There's something about a coffee house that's just very warm and welcoming.
Gives you that sense of community.
What are you most proud of since you've opened it?
I cry easily. I'm thankful for everybody here.
You opened the door during the middle of the pandemic. You got the best Italian restaurant in the United States. Here in St. Louis, you put us on the map. Does it scare you? You go through fear?
Terrifying.
So how do you get past the fear?
We find something to laugh about.
I love this one.
What life?
This one.
You love this life?
Yeah, that I'm having.
You love this life that you're having?
One time that I get to send people to Nora, I have fun with them.
How much time do you get to spend here?
And I don't know.
But you like to make the most of the time you do have?
Nora, I stay here in Nora and make friends. Like I would just go all around the world and meet all the people in the world in different countries. What would you do if I was still in? What would all you people do if I was still in heaven?
Miss you, but we know you're in a good spot.
But what will you do? That was my favorite thing. And then you can tell me what you did when you get to heaven. You can tell me when I am.
Maria Granados is my in-studio guest, co-founder of the Take Part Foundation. She was just saying that's one of her absolute favorite videos. Natalie, Nat G. And again, so many incredible videos. People can watch all these, by the way, on your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah. So we have a YouTube channel for Take Part Foundation. So just Take Part Foundation. You'll see a little lion with a green cape. That's how you know you're in the right place. And then we share a lot of our journey on my Instagram too, and through the Take Part's Instagram.
And again, so we're looking at some comments coming in. Feel free to do so, by the way. I love when you ask questions or you're interactive, whether you're on Instagram or Facebook. Nat G, love her, Kristen Flannery just said. Sydney Lou Who, do you know who?
Yeah, I do.
Nat G,
Hey, Sid.
sweetheart. Fantastic foundation, an amazing family, great family. Nat G, right? Nat G.
Yes.
But Natalie's not the only one that has a nickname. Her brother also is what, AKA Ziggy?
Ziggy,
Zach,
yes.
by the way, my director, we're gonna have to call you Ziggy now.
Oh yeah, Ziggy. Yeah.
And then
and her youngest brother Teddy.
does Teddy have a nickname
No,
also?
well, he's got a lot.
Tedgy.
We're a nickname family, so we have too many sometimes. It's
No,
too
you don't.
much. We
It's
love it
fun.
though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we went into the break talking about, there's a beautiful family, by the way, talking about so many levels of what this family has gone through. Take Part Foundation. Maria works to advance the research and the funding for rare pediatric diseases, inspired, of course, by Natalie. So Natalie's is it Pyrox?
Yeah, so it can say Pyrox-D1 or Pyrox-D1. It's essentially the gene that's affected. So there's no name for it yet. They name it by the gene until
Okay.
I guess it becomes popular enough that they create a name for it. But the gene, you and I have it. Ours is functional, but even though it's functional in us, this is one of the genes that they don't know what it does in any of us. They just know that we need it or we die. Okay. Or if you don't have enough, you can have what Natalie has. Or if you have too much, that's dangerous. You have to have just the right amount. Apparently, we all have just the right amount. But very, very insane, because when you start to do this research on these things, you realize, like, we're researching this rare disease. We think it's going to help for Natalie. But once we figure out what this gene does, that's for all of us.
All of us, correct.
And so I think that it's important to keep in mind we're studying like rare research for so many different things, but it does at the end of the day affect all of us, because these are all genes we have in our bodies.
Right.
And so it's important to know how they function and what they do.
So as people donate, and I know you've had galas in the past, and you've
Yeah.
got something big coming in maybe in 2026.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. 2020
Or-
we're going to be in 20. We're going to skip 2026 gala,
Go
but
to
we're going to have a
2027.
big one in 2027.
All right.
Look
So
out for it.
Look out for so
We have lots of other events before that.
Yes, and we'll talk about
Yeah.
a couple of them that are coming up and one that we're actually going to feature next week. So we separate them because I really wanted to get into Natalie's story and the Take Part
Yeah.
Foundation today, and then talk about the workout and run, et cetera, that are coming up for you. But when people donate to the Take Part Foundation, where's the money going? Let's talk about how it helps us.
That's really important for me to talk about, just as someone whose background is in nonprofit
Mm-hmm.
and just wanting to take donor dollars and do the best that I can do with those things. So there's a couple different avenues. We do research, we do resources, and we tell stories. And so research, we have 2 research projects going on right now. One is for Pyroxy 1 and one is for Gould syndrome, which is being studied out of the University of San Francisco. So Pyroxy 1 is being studied between the University of Sydney in Australia and Texas Tech University here.
Okay.
They're collaborating on that effort. And then Gould syndrome is being studied at the University of San Francisco. So these are going directly to the researchers. So there's not like a lot of other avenues and things these are going into.
Straight into the stream.
Yeah, we have very low cost to Take Part Foundation because it's just me over there. And so we really try to send almost every dollar to that or to fundraising events or marketing structures in order to get more donations. And so we do that. We also fund the resources. So we were able to donate at this point, I think between the 100,000, 20,000, and we are going to be, in the next month, we'll have given over $200,000 to St. Louis Children's Hospital, and that will be over probably like a 16-month period.
That's incredible.
Our goal is to make sure no families leave that genetics department without getting that testing that they need. Because just think of the single mom who gets denied by insurance,
Right.
doesn't have the extra $5,000 or however much it costs, because it varies depending on what's needed, to pay for that testing. So she doesn't pay for it, but what she doesn't realize is if they get that diagnosis, it opens a door to more things being covered for her child's journey. So it's just like we want to break barriers. I am just
Absolutely.
in the business of breaking barriers. And so I want to break it. I keep that mom in mind all the time and just think we need to keep funding it for that. And so at 100 to 120 families every year, because the tests vary, the cost kind of varies, but we've kind of estimated an amount. So our goal is to keep that at 0. So a lot of your dollars go there. And then we also work with veterans too, because veteran families notoriously have shifty insurance. And so if our friend Will Bates runs a nonprofit based out of here that many people know called Will Be Inspired.
Will Be Inspired.
Which is amazing, and we love Will. And so what we've done with Will is we've said, when you hit a rare disease or when you hit a veteran family who has a kid with a rare condition, let us know if they need reimbursement for testing or any part of that journey. That's something that we feel very passionate about. I have family members that are veterans, and so I understand the insurance aspect of that as well. And that's just another hole we've seen in the system. And then we tell stories. So we try to create a video every year highlighting a certain kid with a rare condition to remind everybody that, yes, this is medical. Yes, we need to raise money. There's a lot going on here, but this is also a family with a very real emotional story, a child who is theirs, not just a number, not
Right.
just a
I was just gonna say
thing on
that,
a page. So we've told Natalie's story. We've told Landon's story with Gould syndrome. And we continue to want to tell a story every year in a well-produced video that family can have and hold on to and share in their communities too.
And again, if there are people out there that say, I need to connect with Maria, what is the best way for them to get in touch with you?
So my email goes right to Take Part. So Maria at take-part.org, or you can find me on Instagram at Take Part Foundation. Over there, I'm the one responding to that. So like I said, we're a small operation doing mighty things.
You are
so
doing
if
mighty
you,
things.
if you need to get in touch with us, you'll be talking to me. So I will make sure that we can get you whatever help you need. We also have something that's up and coming called the Warrior Pages. That's free for all families of kids with rare conditions. And so you can go on there now. It's just in its early stages. So there's a little bit of kinks and stuff, and we don't have a lot going on there, but we're building that up over the next year. Families of kids with rare conditions can build a warrior profile for their kid. They can put pictures on there, they can put a video, they can tell us their story, and they can tell us the medical side. In our journey, having a website like this has helped us with new teachers, new nurses, new babysitters. We've actually pulled it up at the ICU when we were in a different city so that the doctors could see what they were dealing with Natalie, because they can't get a medical records from other hospitals that fast.
Right.
So
here
these
it
can be
is.
life-saving resources as well, because it's like, what is this kid's condition? What are they?
Right.
And as a family, you're so frazzled. It's like, here's the one pager, pull this website up. And the doctor was like, came back to my husband crying. He said, if I would have had a page like that, last week for other kids, I might have saved more lives.
Oh, my goodness.
Because you don't know, we can't pull
Right.
stuff
They don't
that
have that
fast
instantaneous, yes.
if it's not within our network. And so as parents, you can release whatever records you want to, and you are in charge of that. So that's not a HIPAA violation, which is amazing. So sometimes we have to take things into our own hands,
Oh,
and
yes.
doctors that we've talked to have actually been a big fan of what we're doing with that as well, which is cool.
Sure.
Because they're like, we want to help the kids as much as possible as well.
Absolutely. That's why they go into the business of being a healer,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But they need all of us as a community to come together and help. Again, Maria Granados, Take Part Foundation. Spread this like crazy. We always ask you to share these stories of inspiration and hope. So, in this moment, as we went into the break, we were talking about Natalie and so many different times in her young life of scares. But the biggest was she was dead for 20 minutes. How
So
old was she at that point?
She was 4.
4, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
she was 4 at that point. So we were actually on a family vacation in Michigan. We were on one of the beautiful lakes. We had a beautiful house. Matt's extended family was there. So like his parents, her cousins, his brothers and sisters and their families. We were all there. And it was one of those like amazing mornings, on family vacation where like cartoons are on in one room, adults are in the other room drinking coffee, and everyone's just kind of like relaxing. Like, what are we going to do today? Are we going to go down to the shore? Are we going to kind of just one of those things? And then all of a sudden, like Matt had been in the room with Natalie with other kids. And they were watching something, and I just heard him scream for me and to go get one of her machines, and then he's like, "No, you go. I'll go get it. You hold her." And I went to go hold her, and I was looking at her, and I just saw her eyes go back, and she just started turning different colors, and I screamed, "She's dead!" And so we were just panicking. The whole house. People aren't even awake yet. Some people aren't even awake yet. One of my sisters our sister-in-laws is calling the ambulance. She's like literally running out to the street so that she can get them in quick enough. We were so frazzled. Matt's brother is screaming like, "Get her on the floor," because Matt's like, he's really good. He's trained to do CPR. So in those moments, there's so many little things that you don't think about. Like, she's on the couch. No, we can't do CPR on the couch. Get her on the floor. You know what I mean? Like, your brain isn't working. That's why I always tell people, be trained in CPR. My husband was incredible. He performed CPR on her until they got there. We had her hooked up to we have a monitor. So she's hooked up to that at the time because she was getting her normal morning treatment. Thankfully, she was hooked up to it. Allowed us to see she was zero on all fronts for 20 minutes. And it was the worst, and I will say the best experience, because I'll explain that to you in a second. But I remember I was calling on I literally called on my prayer warriors. One of my friends who, she owns My Beloved Bridal, one I have told you about, she's fabulous, Londi. I called her, and she was like, right away was ready to pray. She was praying over it. She called everybody and turned all the prayer warriors on. I called my dad.
You called your dad, right?
I called my dad crying to tell him that she had died, but to pray anyway. And he was like on it, praying. And I'd never heard my father cry before like that. And I heard him cry on the phone, and I just knew it was serious. And I'm just like, you're in a surreal moment. But I had never, it's all very fast, but I just remember kneeling by her side. Whoever I was talking to was on speakerphone. We were praying. I was praying. I remember the Lord giving me a prayer of like, I know no matter what, you're healing her right now. You're either healing her right here and she's coming back with me, or you're healing her there. Like, I had just peace that he was healing her. To go from like being frantic in my human emotions of like my child is dying to like also peace at the same time, that kind of experiential faith. So when I tell people things like your suffering produces endurance, endurance character, and character hope, that's scripture, but I lived it. So now you can't ever tell me any different.
Right.
So that's why I challenge people to read the Bible, because I'm like, you're going to need it, and then you're going to live something out, and it's going to be true, and you're going to say, oh, that's an experiential truth that can never be taken from me. And that's what we mean by hope, I think.
Well, I also love that. Again, I want to share this video because you really need to see the whole thing play out and what they went through. But you make a comment in there of, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for her to go right now.
Yeah.
But if you are taking her, I'm at peace to know that she's going with you and that she'll be with you.
Yes. And Matt said, like, my husband actually recounted that to me because it was just all he could think about as he was doing CPR. He was just hearing me. And so I think that's also just like thinking about teamwork as a marriage. It's like he was doing what he had to do in that moment. And I was able to like kneel there, like, and pray over her. And he was just like, that was giving him such peace to know. And that's, to me, I'm not that kind of, I'm frantic. So like to know that the Lord gave me peace in that moment to be a peace for him while he was doing the thing he needed to do. And the paramedics came and They didn't find a pulse, and you could tell that these 3 men were amazing. They were desperately trying, and they did not want to pronounce her dead in front of her little cousins and her brother and all these different people. So they said, so one of them, because Matt had talked to them afterwards, one of them was like, I think I feel something. Let's get her on the stretcher and get her out of here. And Matt went with them, and I drove in the car behind, and it was, and she hadn't come back yet, but my friends were sending prayers, and specifically like her eyes, like the Lord's going to open her eyes. And Matt would be sending me updates from the ambulance that those things were happening. And then when she woke up, we weren't sure if she would be brain dead or all the, which was almost, that was a whole different experience for me. But within 48 hours, she was in better condition than before she
in 48 hours after being dead for 20 minutes, she just rolled out of there and back to her spunky little self.
It was wild. We were at some small hospital in Michigan, and they ended up that's when she woke up, and we didn't know if she was going to be brain dead. They had to airlift her to Chicago Lurie's hospital because it was closest children's. And so then when the rest of us drove there and at that hospital, and it was during COVID time, so it was like we didn't know if she would make it. And so my parents met us from St. Louis there, but only one or two people can sign. Only one of us could be there at a time.
Yes.
So we couldn't even be there together with each other, Matt and I.
Oh my goodness.
So we had to switch in the hallway, and just it was touch and go for the first 20 hours. But then I just it was the most awe-inspiring moment of my life, and sometimes I have to remind myself that it's real.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
But
about
look
those
at
moments?
the power of prayer.
Yeah.
The
power of prayer is incredible.
All right, we didn't say
Incredible.
who Max is, by the way. Tell him who Max is.
Oh, Max. Yes. Okay, Max. So Max from The Grinch. Natalie went on her Make-A-Wish trip right after. We had already had our Make-A-Wish trip scheduled, and then this thing happened in August. Her trip was supposed to be scheduled for October, and I'm like, well, I don't know if we're going to be able to, and all of this, I'm like, it's so silly to think, I'm like, oh, she just really wanted to go to Disney World and Universal and have that experience, and she's not going to get to go. And it was one of those things where we got to that point, and she was perfectly healthy and great, and she got to have that experience. And so we're at Universal on our last day, and we're just I look at her lap and I said, what is that? And she's like, it has a little stuffed Max from The Grinch. And I was like, where'd you get that? She's like, from the store. And I guess so she didn't realize you had to pay for things. She's little. She was 4. And I run to the nearest kiosk, and I'm like, can I pay for anything here? I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need an unpaid item coming out with me and I don't feel like that's going to be good. And so we end up paying for Max. Well, Max had been part of our family for a long, long time. And so he went to school with her every single day. Preschool, daycare,
there's a video
all
of her and her brother that are that he's getting a shot or something, right?
Yeah.
They're taking
Max made it from 4
Max
all
got
the way to
sick.
she's in 3rd grade now.
Yes.
So Max just retired.
Oh, did he?
And she decided.
Have you had to sewn him at any
There's
time?
her teachers have actually sewn him for her. And I'm telling you, he was ragged by the end of his life.
Of course,
Max's
he's
life.
loved.
But she had decided last year that it was time for Max to, because this is all the way through 2nd grade. I think as she started to grow up, because he would sit on her lap every day at school. Every single day. There is a person that was such an important part in her life. Actually, I was watching this, Sydney. She had a baby, and Natalie wanted to give Max to her baby because Sydney had helped take care of Natalie.
Oh my gosh.
And so Max now lives there, and Natalie was so grateful her heart is too big. She loves people and she loves babies, and so she wanted to give Max.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So Max finally left our home after many
Max
years.
is paying it forward.
Almost
all
5
of you.
years. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'll look at some more of the comments, and then we want to tell you about a couple of events that are coming up that you can be a part of. It's a way for you to give back, a way for you to fund this incredible organization, and it's going to be. You know what? We talk about getting uncomfortable. Some of these might get you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
One of them I want to do so bad, but it's had an amazing response. I mean, in fact, I don't even know if there's. By the time she comes on next week, I don't know if there's going to be any slots open. It might have to be an 11 a.m.
Yes, we might have to have another one.
All right, we'll have more with Maria Granados when we return.
Was just on the Real Monica Adams show, and it was really a good experience for me. When I walked in, the building is just peaceful. The environment is beautiful here. Monica really made me feel welcome.
The Monica Adams Show allows people to be themselves. It's really important to share kindness, to be real, to offer stories and things that will give people hope and a reason to smile.
Rather than waking up aggravated, disappointed, and wondering, where's this earth going, choose to wake up with something that'll put your mind and your heart in the right direction. Start with Monica.
We talk about community, and we could not do the things that we do every day. We couldn't do this show if it wasn't for all of you, passionate, hopeful, positive, faith-based people that are watching this show, paying it forward for the last, 2.5 years, and for all of you businesses that have brought us for these mobile Monicas, or you've been a regular part of a show like Just Pools. Madonna and her team, I cannot thank you enough for believing in me as I believe in you, and we bond together, and we couldn't do it without all of you. So Just Pools, by the way, fortunately, the weather's still beautiful, so I hope you still have your pools open. We closed ours. It's always my least favorite day of the year is closing the pool, but we'll reopen it sometime in March or April. When you want that pool to look just as gorgeous as that, please do me a favor, support those that support us. Go in, get your chemicals. She's got 10% off of chemicals right now. They're going to do end of year, so you might want to stock up on all the fun toys for your kiddos. And again, if you're still trying to keep it open for the next few weeks, go in and take a water sample in. Let them treat it for you and say, hey, just do this or this. You still have some summer left in you. 636-464-7110. They're located on the outer road, the West Outer Road in Arnold. All right, welcome back, folks. It is the Real Monica Adams Show. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. If I didn't have a meeting at 8:15, Maria and I would go on and on and on because we've got so much to talk about, but I think maybe I'll have to have you come back because this is an amazing foundation that maybe some of you don't know about. That's why I wanted to have her on. We're looking at some comments and questions coming in on Instagram. Again, if you have to rush off to work, do me a favor and be sure to watch this later and tell your family and friends about this, of how we can step forward and help. Sweet Nat G, full of wisdom and the fiercest faith I've ever witnessed. That's what someone said. Oh. Take Part's mission and work is so important. Great work, Take Part. We love you. We have some of the most incredible nonprofits right here in St. Louis. We'll be inspired and Take Part are making an incredible difference in the community. By the way, Will and we talked about a year ago. He was supposed to be on the show. I need to get him on the show.
Oh, yeah,
I
absolutely.
love what he does for veterans and for first responders. With
yes,
my husband
absolutely.
being a first responder. Yes. Natalie Girl, the warrior profile thing is so cool. I didn't know that. Warrior Pages, yes, so good to tell these kiddos' story. God is moving. This reminds me of the parable of the talents. You guys are stewarding your gifts so well. People saying amen. We love Max. A life-changing day I'll never forget. Don't you tell me he can't do it. God is so good. It was a precious moment. Gracie Girl loves Nat. And Nat G, so inspiring. You go, girl. Love all the comments. Keep them coming in. Yeah. Let Maria and Matt know the work that they're doing really, truly matters. Again, the Take Part Foundation. And you are also, by the way, the co-founder of Life Pulse.
Yes. My husband and I own Life Pulse Inc. that we developed when we were dating. And so now it's become our main bread and butter as far as business goes. And so we help build intentional lives for people and businesses. And so we have big clients, Fortune 500 companies. We have high-level executives, entrepreneurs, professional athletes, things like that. Matt is an incredible coach for helping people actually get sustainable results in their business, but not do it at the sake of their life.
I love that.
So
Gabriel's at home moderating, by the way. Gabriel, do me a favor, make sure that you drop in Life Pulse Inc. for them. Yeah. Absolutely. So again, a lot of you are saying, oh my gosh, I know somebody that has a rare genetic disease and I need help with this. Right. So will insurance cover? Is this going to be out of pocket? So many questions that they went through that you're going through. So as far as helping, well, there's a couple of events coming up that I want you to know about. One of them is the Donut Run.
Yes, the Donut Run. We love the Donut Run. So the Donut Run was kind of like our first thing we ever did. Like even before we had the foundation formally, we did this. Matt's family's obsessed with donuts. My kids are now obsessed with donuts.
Who's not, Maria?
I mean, everybody loves donuts, so you can't. And we like to go. Like Matt's he did an Ironman, so he likes the running marathon kind of stuff. I'm a weights girl. I'm a gym girl.
Yep.
So these are two things for me that I'm like, nah. But I've developed a love for donuts and running / walking now for this. But we are doing it this year at the Hub in Chesterfield, who is so incredible. They're so awesome there. And we have a donut run. So it's you There's a bunch of donut stations throughout the run. It's a 5K. You can walk, you can roll, you can dance your way through it. It's not competitive. It's not formal, but it's really, really fun. We have a beautiful flag drop from Monarch Fire Department. We have Tess Boyer-Shank sing the national anthem. Tess is incredible. She was on The Voice. She's a good friend of mine. And we have vendors and face painting and donuts and free coffee, and just come out and have fun. Like, I just tell people, don't get intimidated. It's a 5K.
Right.
It's
because people hear that and think, I'm not a runner.
It's for the non-athlete. As an athlete myself, it's for the non-athlete, okay?
So it's more community.
You can be an athlete out there and do your thing.
Yeah.
We have several people that run it, like, through, and then they walk it with everybody afterwards for more fun. You know, like,
they just want more donuts.
Yeah,
Maria.
they just want more donuts. You don't have to even
Let's
eat
be
the
real.
donuts, but why would you not? That's what I say.
Okay, so again, the Donut Run, and it is going to benefit the Take Part Foundation.
Yes.
Several great events coming up. That one's going to be October 11th.
October 11th, yes, at 8:30 in the morning, in the hub at Chesterfield. So we'll be covering all that territory, and then we'll end with some live music. I tell people, if you can't make it in the morning, come, because we're going to be out there on the turf just hanging out, and hopefully having some music and things going on afterwards too. So come out.
And then the other is actually how this all came about.
Yes.
I saw this on Instagram and I stopped and I'm like, well, that looks really cool. I want to feature that. And it was so funny because Maria's like, yes. And I said, oh, are you going to be there? She's like, yeah, I benefit. I was like, how did I not see a benefit of this foundation? I just saw FirefightHER, H-E-R, firefighter workout. So there was, an 8 a.m. that sold out right away?
8 a.m. sold out, 9 a.m. sold out, 10 a.m. has some spots left.
We're going to
and maybe we'll push Katie to get an 11 a.m. going too.
So Katie, by the way, is going to be on our show next week. So tell me how the two of you connected.
Yeah, so actually Katie and I live in the same dorm at Mizzou.
Oh, how fun.
And so we just became Facebook friends, hung out maybe a couple times, nothing crazy. But we just have stayed in contact over the years. And when I moved back to St. Louis, I love what she was doing with fitness here. I'm a fitness junkie. And so I just have always been inspired by her. Her husband also being a veteran, and I love that. And our husbands had connected. And so Katie, just in her kindness last year, asked if she could, this is an event she's done before, if she could take part, be the beneficiary of it. Yeah. And I said, absolutely. And then she said again, last year was so much fun, let's do it again. I said, absolutely. My friend, I have a very big part of our sponsor and donor database is fitness people, because that's what I'm involved in. So they love it. We all love it. Our friends love it. It's hard, guys. It was hard
but
last
we
year.
talked before about the importance of going through hard things.
You need to go through hard things.
So what are we experiencing that day?
So there are all these different stations. You're in you're in the garage where the fire trucks are, and you're in the down in Brentwood, and so you're also in the driveway. We're doing different equipment, but it's hard workout stuff. So we're doing ropes. We're pulling hoses in. We had the body that they practice with. Yeah. That thing is heavy, but also it's so misshapen. So you're trying to carry that. It's just really fun. It's a partner workout. So you're not alone.
Are you in firefighter gear?
At certain stations, you're putting on firefighter gear and having to do different things. So it's just a lot of fun. It's a big old sweat too. It's a big old sweat.
See,
I promise.
How is it that you and I have been in this town for this long and both have so much in common that we haven't met before?
I know.
Well,
I know. Now we're old best friends.
Exactly.
It's fine.
So the Donut Run and the firefighter workout, we again are dropping everything that you need to know about that. So the 8 a.m., the 9 a.m. for that, again, sold out. The 10 a.m., Katie was telling me that there were some left. I really do believe by the time she's on next week that we're going to need an 11 and a 12.
I think so. Hey, fire department. We're putting the word in now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I actually was talking to Katie and I said, well, look, my husband's a lieutenant with the county police, so maybe we need to do something police related too.
That would be so fun.
Yes.
That'd be so fun.
Again, there's so many ideas. And if somebody has an idea, by the way, of, hey, I want to hold this and I want to raise money for this, let them know. Do you need volunteers for the foundation?
So we have, right now, usually for the donut run, we need volunteers. But right now, we have a lot of volunteers. I would say signing up for the donut run is going to be super helpful for us right now. If that's something that someone's like, I want to come support right now. That and the firefighter workout, yes. We're going to be doing a couple different events next year as well. We also have something called Skate Under the Stars every year that Kristen and Matt Lashoff put on. Matt was a former NHL player. They live here. They have 2 kids with rare conditions. Wow. We've become really good friends. They co-chaired our gala, but it's under Take Part Foundation, so all those proceeds benefit us too, and it's a fun open skate for all abilities. So they have all these different devices, so all kinds of kids can come out and skate, and that's in the beginning of March around Rare Disease Day too.
And the firefighter workout, by the way, tell them the dates and then how they get
involved.
The
firefighter workout is October. I'm going to butcher which day. It's the Saturday. October, is it 8? I believe.
He's got it on the screen for you
Yes.
right now.
Okay.
Yes.
October 18th. Right. And it's in the morning. Like you said, 8, 9, 10.
10's what's available for you right
Maybe
now.
later on.
Right.
You'll let Katie make that decision next week, what she decides.
Well, because
to do there.
obviously from space standpoint,
Yeah.
there's only, according to that at the time that we pulled this slide, there were 10 spaces left. I don't know if that's still the case because they only have a capacity for 20 in each hour. Is that right?
Yes, because it's a pretty tight fit in there.
Right.
So we do put as many people as we can safely in that too. So sign up if you can right now, and then maybe there'll be more. If not, maybe there'll be another date. We'll have to do it.
Katie, we're going to talk you into it.
Come on, girl. Yeah. But
All
you
right.
guys can always tell us if you have a fun idea for
Yes.
a take part event. Like if you want to do your own workout and benefit take part, like we love that stuff. We will show up. We will give you all the things. We'll help with whatever. Like we love innovative people.
Do you
doing
have,
fun
I would
stuff.
imagine because they're all very, very giving. Have you had like different CrossFit gyms and stuff that have done things for you?
We haven't yet, but we
Wow.
have had
Come on, CrossFit.
we have had gyms doing different things. We have had like F45,
Oh, yeah.
different F45 gyms. We've had Project
I need
Power. We've had
Crunch to
Freedom
do.
Fitness.
Crunch is our national sponsor. I'm going
Yes!
to go there this morning. So I'm going to talk with them and say, hey, is there something that we can do for take part? I bet you they're very,
That'd
very
be so
giving.
fun. Yeah. Gyms have been really helpful too, but I think even doing more fun fundraiser workouts would be really
Yeah.
fun too. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take one final break. When we come back, we're going to do our devotional. We'll wrap up and give you everything that, again, you need to know. So, Maria, we do 100 Days to Freedom books.
Okay, I love
from
it.
Stephen Arterburn.
Yeah.
Do you feel that the world and you and Natalie, your family, need to hear 100 Days to Freedom from fear and anxiety, from anger, from shame, or depression?
I think maybe today is anger. I feel like there's a lot of people that want to, or I think that's stirring over the past week or so.
Absolutely.
And maybe we can just harness that back into love.
Love it. All right, we'll do that. Don't go anywhere. And by the way, you just saw Crunch. I'm excited to tell you that Crunch is coming now to Fenton. That'll be their 4th. They have 12 that they're going to be opening, I believe, in like a year and a half or 2 years time period. So Florissant, Baldwin, St. Peter's open right now. Fenton is coming for you next. Super excited about that. All right, if you're just tuning in, boy, did you miss a powerful show. Take Part Foundation. I want you to know all about it. Be sure to go back. That's the beauty of streaming. Now, when we wrap up, you'll be able to take the show, watch it at your leisure. Maybe you had to rush off and you want to watch it at lunchtime or later this afternoon, or get the family involved. Again, you've got healthy kids. I want you to tell the whole family to watch this and say, hey, look, what can we do for these families that are going through this? Again, Take Part Foundation. And again, thank you to Zach and thank you to Gabriel at home dropping in all the information for you. So Maria Granados from the Take Part Foundation, she picked 100 Days to Freedom book from anger. And yes, we have gone through a lot. You know what happened in the world, but it's what we're doing as we come out of this. Again, people turning to their faith more than ever. People packing churches this past weekend. 38,000 chapters of Turning Point now. So the shepherd may have been taken down, but the sheep did not scatter. Instead, they're all banding together, bonding, and saying, what can we do? That's what this whole thing of community is about. So today it's All Too Much. That is the name of day 36. Moses heard all the families standing in the doorways of their tents whining, and the Lord became extremely angry. Moses was also very aggravated. I can't carry all these people by myself. The load is far too heavy. That's Numbers 11, verses 10 and 14. As the leader of the nation of Israel during its journey from slavery in Egypt to the land God had promised, Moses keenly felt the pressure and the weight of his responsibilities before God and the people. As the children of Israel faced repeated challenges and trials during their wilderness trek, Moses struggled with how to handle their constant complaining, their stubbornness, their disobedience. At times, in fact, he felt exasperated and overwhelmed. How have you ever thought, am I going to get through something like that? People around me, the anger, the shame, the depression. Have you ever felt your anger rising due to the pressure that you are experiencing? You might not be leading a whole nation to freedom as Moses was, but you're not exempt from the stress of life, which can get overwhelming. Sometimes the pressure, it's just too much, and you explode. When that happens, the pressure releases, but the problem's still there. You have to step back and then you have to rethink your approach. Moses had to reassess his circumstances frequently over the 40-year journey. In Numbers, he cried out to God, I can't carry all these people by myself. The load is far too heavy, Lord. In the rest of this account, Moses expressed his heart to God. He was truly overwhelmed and wanted to be done with it all. God then heard his cry, provided for the Israelites repeatedly, and brought them into the promised land. Deuteronomy 29:5 says, For 40 years I led you through the wilderness, yet your clothes and sandals did not wear out. God's faithfulness can help you carry whatever pressure you're under. Ask him for help. Share with him the struggle you're feeling. No matter where the pressure is coming from, God will provide. When you feel like it's all too much, go to the one who will provide. T.D. Jake says, for every door that God opens, there will be something in front of it to test you. Maria and I talked about the uncomfortable, the hard times. Beth Moore said, may God remind us daily, no matter what kind of obstacles we face, that we're loved, we're empowered by the one who brought the universe into existence with the mere sound of his voice. Nothing is impossible for him. So here's your prayer. Jesus, I'm overwhelmed and my reactions are not honorable. Please help me trust you with my frustrations and my pressure. I know you have a plan. I know this. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to fulfill your purpose in my life. Thank you for your provision and grace. Amen.
Amen.
Good one, Maria.
That was good.
I'm glad you chose
I needed that this morning.
People have a tendency to always pick the fear and anxiety one, and I get that.
Yeah.
But yes, anger.
Yeah.
And that's actually where my husband is right now, ever since what happened last week.
Yeah.
He's in the anger. He is in the why. He's in the I
grieving,
need to know.
It's part of the grieving stages too, I
Sure.
think. And I think we're grieving more than we realize.
Yes.
For many reasons.
You're so amazing. I'm
That's
so
okay.
glad we met.
I'm grateful for you. So grateful.
So take part. Again, donut run, the firefighter workout. Maybe you come up with something that you as a community can say, we want to do. The most important thing is to keep an eye on their pages. So where are you most active? Would be
I'm most active on my personal Instagram at Ria Rambles. I do Take Part, heavy stuff there as well. Take Part Foundation also has its own Instagram, a little less active. We share a lot of Nat's story through my page and just have more traction. So that's why we do that way.
And right before I went to bed last night, I was telling Maria when she walked in, I said, wait, is Matt a preacher?
Yes. I said he moonlights as one sometimes. Sometimes, yes.
Well, it was powerful. And what a weekend for him.
Yeah,
to be
what a
of
weekend for
service.
him. And that was my prayer for all of our city, is that every person taking a stage or a pulpit just had the Holy Spirit with them.
And spoke the words that we all needed in our heart and
Yeah.
soul. Kathleen said, I cannot wait for the donut run. Forever my favorite event.
Oh, love
Sydney
it.
said, love me a donut. Anyone who doesn't want to run can walk it out with me, Kristen says.
Yeah.
The firefighter workout is so much fun. Love how the fitness community rallies for rare diseases.
They do.
And we will absolutely show up. Give us all the fitness challenges to help the kiddos. Yes.
Yeah.
You and I are going to stay in touch here because I obviously love to work out. And so if there's some things that we can do together to further your mission, I'm all about that.
Oh, I love that. I'm bringing fitness alongside of it.
Thank
So
you, my
good.
friend.
Thank you. I appreciate
And to all of you, thank you.
And
Tomorrow,
thank you all.
Tomorrow's Wellness Wednesday, we'll actually be filming a workout today to help you with your own goals as you are on a journey, as we all are each and every day. Remember what we tell you. Get out of your own way. Talk to somebody new today. Look them in the eye and show them the greatest thing that you can show them, and that is kindness. God bless you all. Have a good day.
At first, we thought not having a diagnosis was difficult. But looking back, even with all the uncertainty, there was still hope. Hope that my little girl would be okay. Hope that she would get a diagnosis that had a plan of attack, an action we could take. Hope that it wasn't as bad as it seemed when we didn't know. I remember sitting in the meeting room down the cold hallway from Nat's ICU bed with our team of genetics doctors. They told us that they had finally had an answer, a diagnosis, for what was going on in our little girl's body. When they told us what her diagnosis was, we quickly asked, so what can we do for her? As the doctors looked at each other, waiting to see who would answer the question first, they informed us that there is no known treatment and our daughter would have to wait for science to catch up to this disease. Basically, her best hope was to outlive the unknown prognosis of her now named and identified rare disease.
While we got the answer to the first question, what's the diagnosis? We now are stuck with the question of what's the prognosis. The hope that came with no diagnosis seemed to be stomped out by the living in fear of no prognosis. Well, we needed a better answer. We needed something to fight for. So we flipped the impossible into the fight for possible. Many people in our lives were eager to support and help take part in Nat G's fight. But we had no real way to do this, so we made a way. We literally stumbled upon a tiny team of international doctors who were studying Nat's condition online. and worked with our doctors here to get connected. They needed funding to keep going because they had not proved anything yet that big organizations would be interested in. As we were raising money to fund this research, a donor asked us a simple question: how common is rare? We had no idea, so we searched the answer. And I found some things that I can never unsee. 30 million people are affected by a rare disease in the United States. 35% of kids with rare diseases do not live past the age of 5. 95% of these rare conditions have no FDA-approved treatment. Turns out, rare is more common